just macarons in general. But I like to call this tutorial a 101 why the hell your macaron went wrong.
Que fazer essa menina? Como é que você já fica toda?
Beginning from the very first ingredients of the macaron, we are going to explore how this affects your macaron and what can go wrong, and we are going to explore absolutely every aspect of it. When you age an egg white, it loses some liquids, and liquid can compromise the structure of your macarons, so always choose to actually age your egg whites. To make the macarons, you're going to start by grinding your almonds. You can use almond flour instead of raw almonds, but almond flour usually contains skin on it. It will make your macaron less delicate. And the only difference between a chocolate macaron to a regular macaron is that in a chocolate macaron we add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And if you want to make a regular macaron, just don't add the cocoa powder and you'll be fine. Fine. I'm gonna grind this with my powdered, not milk, my powdered sugar. Add a good quality of cocoa powder. If you don't want to make chocolate macarons, just don't add cocoa powder. And grind it until very fine and combined.
I want to settle down. I want to settle down. Won't you settle
Now you're going to whip the egg whites. And this is when the real action begins. Because a meringue is the egg whites beaten with some sugar. So this is the real deal. When you're making macarons, there are usually 2 types of meringue. There is the French meringue, bonjour, and there is the Italian meringue, buonasera. So the French meringue, you incorporate the sugar in its raw stage. And in the Italian meringue, you incorporate cooked sugar, which is a syrup that you make before. And the Italian meringue is more stable, so it's easier to actually achieve the consistency that you want in your macaron after you bake it. And even though the French meringue looks easier because the process is a little bit easier, it is harder to achieve the right consistency and to achieve the right technique that you want. But we are going to go for the French meringue because when you make things at home, French meringue is much easier because you don't have to cook sugar and then you don't need a thermometer, a candy thermometer. So we are going to go for the French meringue and you're going to be just fine. Bonjour.
On me dit que nos vies ne valent pas grand-chose. Elles passent en un instant comme fanent les roses.
I'm going to use my stand mixer with the whisk attachment on, and if you don't have one of this, you can use your hands and your whisk to make the meringue. Make sure your bowl is completely clean. 1 drop of fat can inhibit the egg whites from whipping, so make sure it's all clean and nice. I usually separate my egg whites 2 days prior to the day I'm gonna make my macarons, cover with plastic film, and leave on my refrigerator. This way you're aging your egg whites and making it lose some liquids. Room temperature eggs whip to a higher volume, and cool eggs, they have more stability. So for the macarons, volume doesn't really matter because we flatten the batter. Either way it's going to work. Start whipping your whites very slowly to incorporate some air, then you can move to medium speed. When it starts foaming, add your cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is an acid that prevents the egg whites from overbeating, from getting too dry because you overbeat them, and it helps them to stretch more. So when you add sugar, the sugar actually makes the same thing. It has the same effect. It helps the egg whites to stretch more, not to overbeat, but I always like to add a little pinch of cream of tartar just to make sure, you know, like making sure twice. When your egg whites achieve a foam stage, you add a little pinch of cream of tartar. Leave it at medium speed until you reach soft peaks. If you're doing with your hands, you're probably very sweaty right now, my friend. But start incorporating your sugar once you see soft peaks. And the sugar has to be incorporated very little at a time, like if you were feeding a bird, you know, like little by little. Because this way the sugar dissolves into the egg whites and it doesn't become grainy. That's the right way to do it. When you see it becomes glossy and shiny, you can test it to see if it has the right consistency. You can see it's dripping. You see, it's not the right consistency. We want hard peaks. So leave it at high speed for a little bit longer and then check it again. Do you see the peak that it forms? It's called hard peak. The peak doesn't move. So this is the hard peak. Do not overbeat it or you're gonna dry your egg whites and your macaron will become very weird and very weird. Meringue ready. See? Nothing dropping. Great consistency. And now let's incorporate our powdered sugar and almonds and chocolate and everything else. So here's the sieve. Put everything through the sieve because if you see huge bits of it, we can grind it again and reuse it. But it all depends on the texture you want in your macaron. If you want a very delicate macaron, just skip any large bits of it. Take it out. Grind again the almonds that didn't pass through the sieve. You can see the larger bits on top here and it is totally fine. I like my macarons with a little bit of almond bits. You can start stirring it. You don't have to be super careful because we do want to break some of the air. So stir it and make the first test to see if your macaron batter is ready to go. If you spoon a batter and this peak doesn't go away in 10 seconds, it's not ready. You have to stir some more. Give it some extra strokes, and this is actually called macaronage. We are breaking the air from the meringue, from the egg whites. Spoon it again and see if the peak forms or not. It forms, but it has to disappear in 10 seconds. See? It disappeared already, so your batter's fine, ready to go. The difference between these two is that the silk patch actually holds the macaron shape more even, but parchment paper is just fine as well. I always think in the size of a quarter. Once you touch it and feel that it's dry on top, it's ready to bake it. It could be from 15 minutes to an hour or to an hour and a half. It depends on the humidity. It's going to depend on the weather. And so the best way to do this is not counting on time, and it's like actually touching it and feeling it. And this crust that's gonna get dry is gonna make your macarons crunchy on the outside. It's gonna help it to bake it properly. Preheat your oven at 300 Fahrenheit and bake them until opaque on top.
Você não tem mesmo que fazer, essa menina. Como é que você já fica toda feminina?
When underbaked, the center of your macaron will look shinier and darker, like the one on the left. And properly baked, it looks opaque, like the one on the right. Now I'm gonna fill my chocolate macarons, and the only rule I can tell you, or the only rule that I have, don't make anything too liquid, or you're gonna soak your shells. But besides that, do anything you want. Honestly, like anything. You want to put bacon on, do it. Don't tell me you did it. But for the chocolate macarons, I'm gonna fill it with dulce de leche. Dulce de leche is not the same thing as caramel, okay? Caramel is burnt sugar. Dulce de leche is a slow-cooked thing, which is milk, a slow-cooked combination of milk and sugar. When I say slow cooked, it's slow cooked. It's like it takes 10 to 12 hours to make it. So this is dulce de leche. That's why I think it's much tastier than caramel. But this is an Argentinian dulce de leche. Amazing. If you don't have one of this, just take your can of condensed milk, cover it with water and let it boil for 2 to 3 hours. You're gonna turn your sweetened condensed milk into dulce de leite.
Então vai ser tal como manda a natureza.
The professional way to do this is to actually pipe with your pastry bag a little bit of the filling in the center, but I don't like to look professional, so I like to just spread with my knife.
Tudo nesta vida tem a sua hora, viu? Pois você me diga agora onde é que já se viu.
Now that you know every single trick in the entire world on how to make macarons, maybe not that much, but you know a lot now, you can play with your shells and you can play with your fillings. And to play with your shells, you can always substitute half of the almonds for the nut of your preference, for pistachios or any nut you want, and play with it. I always substitute only half of my almonds because the almonds, they keep your macaron delicate, they keep your macaron with a more mild flavor, and even if you want to give another flavor, it won't be too strong. So keep half of your almonds and then substitute the other half. It will be enough to fill any nut you want in there. So now I think I can eat one of my macarons and evaluate how I did, right? Give me a grade, 1 to 10. I give myself 10 already. Let me try one of this. Piece of heaven. To see if your macarons were properly made and properly baked, it has to be crunchy on the outside, chewy in the inside, and a little moist from the filling. The best time to eat your macarons are 1 to 2 days after you make them, and then leave them at the refrigerator. It's gonna soak some of the moisture from your filling, some of the liquids from the filling, and it's gonna soak the surface of it. So it's gonna become even more chewy. Yeah. And I hope you like it. I hope now there's no mystery anymore about macarons. I hope I solved all the mystery. I'm like the mystery buster, is it what it's called? Mystery buster? Anyways, I'm the mystery buster of the macarons. And see you next week with an awesome recipe. I already know what I'm gonna make, but I'm not telling you. You have to watch me. And thank you for watching me.